Thank you very much,
Thank
Hazel.
you.
It's now just gone 2 o'clock, so wrong, 3 o'clock even, so I shall play a band called Latterman and My Dreams About Not Sleeping until 3 p.m. Now, that was a track by Latterman, not Letterman, Latterman, and I apologise if I didn't manage to edit out all of the naughty little words. I thought I'd got them all, but hopefully their pronunciation was not good enough for you to hear what I think I might have heard. It might just have been one tiny little bit. Okay, that was Hazel Quinn, who modestly calls our show the hopefully not too good radio show, but it's very good, and it's moving to Sunday. Now, I'm joined in the studio by two young gentlemen who've come up from the coast, and you are, please?
I'm John.
I'm Daniel.
And John and Daniel are from Eyemouth High School, and you're coming to the end of a week's work experience here. Okay, we'll start with John. How have you found your week here?
I found it really good because it's something different than just sitting in like an office and just sitting there. It's something different, like talking on the radio and that.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I missed your show yesterday because I got caught up in all sorts of other things. But that was you'd prepared that in advance, had you?
Aye.
You pre-recorded it, so there will be a recording of it available somewhere that I might be able to get a hold of. How do you feel it went?
Really good. We're only going to go for an hour originally, but then we found it like really good to do, so we're doing it for an hour and a half.
Oh, good. And Daniel, was it? Yeah, right. How's your week been?
It's been really good. It's just nice to do something different rather than the same things day in day out at school.
Right. Now, I know when I organised work experience at Berwickshire High School, we used to. Well, at one point we used to be able to offer hundreds of different options. I know that was becoming harder and harder latterly, but how did you end up at Generate Radio? Was there lots and lots of choice and you chose to come here, or was there a limited number of things that you could have gone for?
So you went on this website and had loads of choice to see what you wanted to do, and then we picked Generate Radio to come and do that. And
why a radio station?
Thought it'd be something I'd quite like to do, something I'd enjoy.
Right. Had you thought about that before you saw it up on the screen, or was just something about seeing it on the screen you thought, no, there's an idea, I hadn't really thought about that, yeah. What about you, John?
I'd listened to like radios quite a lot, but I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do it. I just thought it'd be a good idea.
Right, and do you think it's something you might like to pursue in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to do something like this in the future.
But for the moment, you're going back to complete fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you see yourselves continuing in fifth and sixth year, or do you think maybe the end of fourth year?
I'll probably stay on.
Yeah. And I know it's I know us boring old teachers, we used to, at second year we used to say, what are your plans for the year? What choice, what are you going to choose for third and fourth year and so on? But even that's changing now. But I think some of the choices are coming in even earlier. I know it's difficult to be certain what you wouldn't want to do, but at the same time, some career plans do rely on certain choices being made fairly early, and if you don't get them right, it makes it a wee bit harder in the future. But I think you have to try and keep your options open. But for the moment, you're thinking maybe radio. Or do you think you might come back here to do more work in the future outside work experience?
I'd
like to, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that one of the big problems for young people, especially in this area, is transport and physically getting from Eyemouth up into Duns. But with certain pieces of software, I suppose it's possible to do some kind of recording at home and send them in.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope I hope you've got something worthwhile out of your week here.
Yeah.
And be able to take some messages back to, maybe even if you just encourage people that here there's something happening out there that you want to maybe listen to, because what we could benefit from is more listeners as well, which is one of the reasons why I'm trying to highlight through this 24-hour thing today. Okay, well, have you got any more things to do before you leave, or is your week's work about finished?
I think that's about finished.
What time do you leave?
4.
All right, so you're into the last hour. I hope they've been nice to you.
Yeah, not
I
bad.
hope they haven't cracked the whip too often. Okay, well, John and Daniel, thank you very much for that. I'm going to play some country music now. I tend to play all sorts of different things. I don't like to get stuck in any one particular groove, but not that means I've got any look down on people who do focus on one genre. We've already talked about Roger Daniel, who has his blues show. Brian Stanley comes in, I think, is it Thursday Brian Stanley did his country music goldmine?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think what's that? Hi.
I think so. Yeah, yesterday. Can you remember far back as yesterday? Sorry, I'm putting them on the spot. Yeah, I think I should know. But anyway, Brian Stanley does a country and western show, country music goldmine or country goldmine or something. So just in recognition of the fact that he plays country music, and I do occasionally, I'm going to play a couple of songs that I quite like from that genre, but as I say, I don't restrict myself. I'll play anything, but this one is a particularly good one from way back early 70s. I remember seeing Emmylou play this on stage, and this is well, you tell us, how do you feel in Emmylou?
Feeling single, seeing double, wound up in a whole lot of trouble. But today I'll face the big fight. But I really had a ball last night. Well, I came home from work this morning, my baby was feeling low, and he told me it was a lot of trouble. But today I'll face the big fight. But I really had a ball last night. Today I'll face the big fight. But I really had a ball last night.
I'll put your microphones up anyway, just in case. Right? You can either. I was just asking these guys if they wanted to say anything else on air, and they're not too bothered, I think. But they're either going to sit there very, very quietly, or if they want to say something, they can, because the microphones are open. And I'm going to look into my quiz book and choose a question at random, and this is pretty much on the hoof. Joined together is the heading for this section in the book where the questions are, and it's about duets, pairs, and I suppose quite simply, what was the song that was done as a duet between Aretha Franklin and Annie Lennox? I know they're easy questions, aren't they? But I've got a reason for picking that one. I shall continue now with looking at my script. I'm still sticking to the country theme, and Minneapolis is where Ali Gray comes from. Ali Gray, maybe not a particularly well-known artist in the UK, but I think she's very good, and this is her version of Tammy Wynette's Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad, and the guys are still sitting there, mouths tightly shut. Oh, they're okay, see what you think of that. Maybe I could ask you to critique it and tell me what you think about this afterwards. I bet you've never heard the original. God, my mind's going a blank. Tammy Wynette version, but this is Ali Gray. Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad.
Jukebox all night long, but I see these are the things that bring you pleasure, so I'm gonna make changes in our home.
Well, I better put the microphone up or you won't hear me. That was Tammy Wynette's Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad, done by Minneapolis's Ali Gray. Any thoughts, guys?
That was quite good, huh?
Never heard it. Never heard it before.
Never heard it before. I was going to say, you must have heard it there. It was loud enough. But
for a bit.
it's, yeah, I mean, it's probably not the kind of music you would routinely listen to.
No. If it came on, I'd
yeah. If you'd no option. Anyway, I've got a wide range of. Did you hear the Soviet punk earlier?
I heard that before.
Did you see us on the webcam?
No.
Standing to attention for the national anthem and then turning into pogos. And then Hazel discovered the webcam was on. Right, okay. Right, okay, one final track in this kind of country and western sort of segment to remind you that Brian Stanley does a regular country and western dedicated show. This CD came to me the other day from Nashville, Chakra Bleu. I'm quite sure it's a kind of play on the French Sacre Bleu, but I really meant to find out what the translation of Sacre Bleu is. But Chakra is it's a kind of mystical sort of chant, I believe. Anyway, Chakra Bleu has got this album out, and I think it's really rather nice. And this track, I think, is quite good. I'm seriously thinking about it as a possible track of the month for October, but I haven't made a final decision yet. Here goes. Well, that was Chakra Bleu, and I still haven't done Google Translate to find out what Sacre Bleu stands for. Must be something blue, but right, that track was Imaginary Lines. I suppose considering how the world might be different if we didn't have all these imaginary lines drawn to separate people, country from country, religious group from religious group, and so on. And that's a theme that I've mentioned before, and I'll come back to again. I've got a management quote here now, and it's about control. Control should be no more than a simple feedback system concerned with a comparison of actual and planned performance. But of course some people try to do a heck of a lot more with control. Sometimes of course the situation is forced on you. I was just asking the guys here to consider back in the times of the Second World War, First World War, things were really, really different to what they are now, and the government was forced into a position where they needed troops. They needed to send people out to defend Western democracy and freedoms and so on. And the guys here are 15, coming up for 16-year-old. Now, 17 would have been the start of the age when, you know, people in these days would have been conscripted. No choice. You know, this country has declared war. We are at war. We need you. We need to send you out to fight there. I mean, looking at, no disrespect, I'm looking at you and thinking, you're so young, you know, just to think that, you know, people like yourselves, not much older than you, would have been trained to kill, sent out there to do the killing, and in many cases, sadly, to be killed. It's quite a thought. Thankfully, some people, although they didn't have the choice, some people did it, and we got a result that went our way. Could have been different, I suppose. It was different with the Falklands and Gulf War and so on. At least it wasn't a conscript army there. Although being in the TA at the time of Gulf War I, I did get my mobilisation booklet. It was getting close to the point where, if things had gone differently in Gulf War I would have been conscripted out, but at least I'd volunteered in to the TA in the first place. I tell you, my desk was never. Folk that I worked alongside said my desk had never been as tidy as it was before at that time, as I was preparing just for the off chance that I might have had to drop everything and go out to Iraq. But thankfully I didn't. It's a terrible thought to think that we would be sending young people out to war, and it's one of the things that I suppose inspired the Burns unit to come up with this song, Send Them Kids to War by the Burns unit. That stopped rather abruptly. That was Send Them Kids to War by the Burns unit, featuring Corrine Polwart, local musician. Okay, John and Daniel?
Yes.
Right, my memory's not that bad yet. Right, okay, well, thanks for dropping by, and about half an hour left before your work experience is finished.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, cheers.
It's been a pleasure, and if you feel moved to come and do some more volunteering in the future, I'm sure we'll be more than happy to have you. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best with your continued work at school.
Thank you.
And cheerio. Okay,
Cheers.
right,
Bye.
cheers, bye. And I shall play a track by Stushy now, Black Hat.
Why'd you have to do that? Tell me when you make these tears keep falling. Do you feel like a man? Figure, there's no working you out.
Well, that was Stushy with Black Heart there. One of the reasons I played that was the Work Experience guys, John and Daniel, were talking about how they didn't seem to be particularly impressed by the current chart music, and I said that I wasn't really well up on that at all, because I tend not to listen to mainstream radio anymore. I spend most of my time listening to stuff that's been sent to me. Occasionally, though, stuff comes my way, like Stushy, and when I heard the first one that came to my mind, Love Me, I thought it was brilliant. And then the next thing I discovered, it had gone to number 1 in the charts, and it was only then that I thought, that's the kind of stuff that makes number 1 in the charts. Well, some of it can't be bad. So, that was Stushy's last hit, Blackheart, and I've been hearing some of the options for next single, and they're really rather good. Quite like them. I suppose that's why I chose them as my track album featured artist on the first show of September. Got another great band coming up as featured artist next Tuesday, which is of course the first Tuesday in October. One band that again has been a featured artist in the past is coming up next, but first of all I shall finally get round to having a look at the papers again. We had a brief look when Ian was in, and we managed to get one story. Gosh, it's been a busy time. You're listening to Donald Strachan. I am on Generate Radio. I am into a 24-hour continuous show. I'm not quite sure how long I've got to go yet. I'll just my mind's on a bit of a blank, but if I look at my piece of paper, I see I'm into hour 6, and over halfway through hour 6, so I'm taking it away 1 hour at a time. And I've got the Eye in front of me today, which I think is a brilliant little paper, not least because it's only 20 pence. Okay. 3 stories, captioned stories along the top. Parents appeal to teacher, bring Megan home. Yeah, we did mention that earlier, I think. Flood couple drown in bid to rescue their dog. Tragic story that appears to be a couple who drowned, apparently trying to rescue their dog. And a test that tricked clever 6-year-olds with made-up words. That sounds interesting. I'll maybe look at that later. Main story, Britain's top judges. Your home really is your castle, as the Lord Chief Justice defends the right of homeowners to fight back against burglars. Burglary is an offence against the person, and he also says he vows to end householders looking like the criminals. The remarks should come the day after shop burglars, or the remarks do come the day after shop burglars are jailed. Sports at the bottom, we have football. Terry guilty of racial abuse but gets just a 4-match ban and fine. And the Ryder Cup and T20 cricket. Okay, whatever that is, I don't know. Right, I did say I was going to play a track by previous featured artist, and this is a band twice I've gone on Megabus down to London to see. The marvellous Kenneless, fronted and kind of the brainchild of the wonderful Mel Sanson. And this single was it was issued free of charge, made available free of charge for download, and it was to try and get people thinking about she was getting just sick of people who were sort of having a downer on people just because they were a bit different. So this is Kenneless, or Kennellis, never quite sure how it's pronounced, but if I say it quickly enough it doesn't matter, and quite a short one, it's Sick. Oh, yes, that finishes quickly, but I was ready for it. Yeah, right. Okay, it was Ken Ellis and Sick. Love that band. Right, okay, page 6. Teachers condemn phonics reading test that tricked the cleverest children into failing. More than 4 out of 10 children failed the government's first ever national reading test for 5 and 6-year-olds. But I suppose that's not in Scotland, it's only in England, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Of course it matters. It matters to people that are in England. But at the end of the first year of compulsory schooling, children are tested on 40 words. Half of them are made up words like vu, terg and strom. What? I don't know. I suppose this is one of these articles I should read in more detail before I try and comment on it. My goodness, that's Jessie J looking rather strange, coming out of Radio 2 studios in London yesterday. Right, okay. I don't think I would wear that, Jessie. I'll just hold it up to the microphone so you can... Oh, will you stop that? I'm just getting silly now. Right, this is... I was looking through the Flim, Flam, Sham show folder, because Darren's sitting next door. He might want to come in and have a wee word, I don't know, but I found this in there. It's a long time since we heard this. John Lennon, Give Me Some Truth.
I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, big-headed politicians. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. Just give me some truth now. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, pig-headed politicians. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth now. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth now. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. All I want is the truth.
Yeah, what a guy, John Lennon. All I want is the truth. Now, you don't always get it, do you? It made me wonder when Nick Clegg came out and apologised and people made the parody video, which I was going to play when Hazel was in. I forgot all about that. There's so many other things going on here. I'd forgotten all about that. Is it ready to play? Yes, I think it actually is. Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant video, but to a certain extent, if a politician is talking, I suspect they're lying, so what's the point in apologising? I'm not going to believe him anyway.
I'd like to take this opportunity to put a few things straight. When I meet people around the country, it's obvious that many of you have strong and pretty mixed reactions to some of the things that Liberal Democrats have done in government. Many of you tell me that you're glad that at a time of real economic uncertainty, we put aside our political differences to provide our country with stable leadership. But I also meet people who are disappointed and angry that we couldn't keep all our promises. We couldn't keep all our promises. Above all, our promise not to raise tuition fees. There's no easy way to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry, we are sorry, we are sorry. The Liberal Democrats are sorry. There's no easy way to say we are sorry, we are sorry, we are sorry, we are sorry. The Liberal Democrats are sorry. There's no easy way to say we are sorry. And if we've lost your trust, that's how I hope we can start to win it back.
Yeah, well, my problem is if a politician is moving his lips, he's lying. So what's the point in saying you're sorry? It does mean also when they're campaigning for my vote, I'm not going to believe any of them anyway, so it's a good job some of them are prepared to try and do something. It's just a shame some of them give the others a bad name. I've got Darren sitting beside me, who is one part of the Flim, Flam, Shim, Sham show.
There we
Yeah,
go.
got it.
Fantastic, Darren.
Yeah, and I played the track from your folder earlier, the John Lennon one, which is a long time since I've heard that.
All right.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, thanks for coming in.
problem
It's
at
great
all.
to see some of the presenters that I've only heard on air before. Can I begin by asking you, how did you first hear about Generate Radio?
Interesting story, Donald. Person you had in just before, Hazel.
Right.
It was actually through Hazel. We work at the railway station in Berwick, and I was on a very cold night one night on a back shift, and I see this crazy woman walking up and down the platforms holding what looks like, well, I wasn't sure if it was a gun or a microphone, and it turned out to be a microphone.
Right.
My colleague who was on shift at the time said, we probably need to, ask what she's doing. And it wasn't through any kind of safety issue, but more curiosity. I got speaking to Hazel, and she told me about Generate, what she was doing, and she was actually getting train sounds.
Right.
That I believe she didn't use in the end anyway, but
Well,
so she'd come out on a cold night to do that, but she didn't use them. And just got speaking, and it sounded really cool. What the guys were trying to do, it sounded really good. And got speaking to Chris, who also works at the station. We just said, should we try and help out, give it a go? We're not liked anywhere else. We might be liked on air, you never know.
Right. So I suppose that kind of answers my second question about what prompted you to come. You were curious, and so yeah.
Yeah, curiosity. Yeah. We like anyone that's trying to give things a go. And we just thought what the guys were trying to do and Generate was totally up our street, so we thought,
excellent,
give it a shot.
Did you have any previous experience of radio or media work or anything, or was
Well,
this a step into the dark?
No experience really. We just liked the sound of our own voices. That was our experience. And
But there's the thing. Do you really know what your own voice sounds like until you hear it played back through a recording?
well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We ask for recording every time, so just to check.
Because when I remember when I first heard my voice being played back, I thought, who is that?
You've got a lovely voice, Donald. Lovely voice.
Yeah. But, right, okay, thank you. What would you say has been your best thing about your involvement here at Generate Radio?
Best thing is, well, without doubt, meeting the people we've met. Carl, Oscar, people like yourself, Hazel, just fantastic people who, wanting to give it a go and just to make it all work. And it's great to see that and the level of enthusiasm and commitment that people put in. That's been without doubt the best thing. But also the laughs we have. We go out, we do a few features.
Downers your way.
Downers your way. Yes.
I gather you were very, very impressed in Allenton. I was half expecting you to say there's some tumbleweed.
That's right. It's funny enough. Just on that show, just in case anyone was listening to that show, Oscar decides to pop his head in just not long before the feature was due to go on and say, by the way, I'm from Allenton, so I'm quite keen to hear this. And I was like, oh no, let's just play Eyemouth or something. So
have you ever been to Greenlaw yet, or is that on your list?
No, Greenlaw
on your hit list.
Greenlaw is on the list. We will get there, and we're
your
very
name's
much
on the list. You're definitely getting in. Yeah.
very much looking forward to Greenlaw.
Oh well, but no, it's good to be able to sort of look at yourselves with a sense of humour. I think if people take themselves too seriously, that's where we get a lot of problems.
That's what it is, and we hope people see it as what it's meant to be. It's just us. The laughs on us. I mean, we all know. Borders and Northumberland, fantastic place to live and great places to go. We're just having a laugh.
Yeah, one of the models I had when I was working out what I was going to do here. I don't know if you ever heard, quite a few years ago now, on a certain other radio station, commercial radio station that's based in Galashiels, Radio Borders. They had Rory McLeod and Dougald Craig did a thing on a Thursday evening called Between the Pages.
Right.
And they would sit down and they would go through, not the national press like I do, but the local, the Berwickshire, the Southern, and they'd pick out all these wee stories about local stuff and comment on them, and they could be quite catty and cheeky. And if somebody from Wooler, for instance, I always remember Wooler, if they got any stories about Wooler or Wooler, and they would really rip everything out of it. But I thought it was great. They had, that was kind of the model I went for, but they were just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, all the border villages, everything just like that. I've got no right to rip anything out of anyone. I'm from Birmingham, so need I say more?
But no, I mean, I think it's good to celebrate the diversity that
I think it's fantastic.
that people have throughout the world, and I'm a great believer in trying to break down barriers, and I don't really care too much about false. That's why boundaries. That's why I'm quite attracted to that song I played earlier called "Imaginary Lines." I'm thinking that might be my track of the month next month, because it is very much a case that there's all these lines that are drawn to separate us, and are they really necessary?
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
But.
Totally.
Thanks for popping in for that brief chat. I'm going to play another song now. It's the answer to my trivia question. I'm making it up so much as I go along. The question wasn't actually one that was in the book. I made it up. Joined together, it was which duo or which song was done as a duet with Annie Lennox and Aretha Franklin. And Darren's looking puzzled. I just wondered if
I could guarantee you if Chris was here, because that's one thing about our show as well, Chris does all the music. He's very much a muso, and
right.
No doubt he would know the answer.
Well, this is the classic, well, as far as I'm concerned, the classic. It's called Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves, and I'm playing that so that I can get a mention of another pair of presenters who do another marvellous job here, and that's Jan and Shirley, the Jan and Shirley Show. It's a cracking show, and they're great too. So if you're listening, Jan or Shirley, this is especially for you, Aretha Franklin and Annie Lennox, and that's pretty much going to take me up to the end of hour 6. Woo!
Now there was a time when we used to say that behind every great man there had to be